often that I have the opportunity to stand and look out over such a vast example of what any gardener would love to have in their landscape. Ron, I'm just going to give this over to you. Tell us your story.
Thanks, Annette, and it is just such an honor to be on your show, the best garden show on TV as far as I'm concerned.
Thank you.
We started our landscaping here actually during the flood of May 2010. I remember it well. It was a challenge to try to keep the water from going down to where the house was. And when we looked at the lot, and we just fell in love with it, primarily because the first thing you notice is the upward slope of the hillside. And the second thing you notice is these majestic oak trees that provides a frame. Even though we're in an urban setting, it provides a framework that just gives you that feeling that you're someplace you want to be. And then third, because of the proximity of the hillside and the trees to the house, we can, what I'd like to say, bring the outdoor garden indoors and enjoy it all year long just by looking out our patio door and on the windows. And so what we tried to create here was a feeling of ambiance in a wooded home site. And then we started adding things and getting some ideas, and then we're here filling in with our waterfall and the flagstone patio and so forth.
Well, plant selection is key to all of this, whether it's in color or structure, texture. So what about your selections of plants?
Well, we went to a lot of garden. You know how it is, you go through these garden shows in the spring and you
Yes.
get all pumped up and you see, so I wish I had something like that. So we got some ideas over the years by going to them. And then I started out with the hillside as it is, so we had to have a waterfall here. And so we put in this double waterfall.
And we say we, you literally did this.
I designed the waterfall. I had help putting it in. The rocks are too heavy for me. I'm getting too old to do that. So I had help with that, but everything you see that's green over here, the trees and everything, my wife and I planted ourselves. So we put in the waterfall, we did the flagstone patio, which comes from the Cumberland Plateau, directly from there. I love Japanese maple trees. They're just so compact and they change colors throughout the season. And then we complement that with what I call the hardscape, the boulders and the rocks, and we kind of put it all together. And then as far as plant selection, try to keep the color going all year long, so we add some annuals.
That's key, isn't it?
It's key to keep the color going, because you get in the spring, you've got lots of color in the perennials and the blooms, but then you have to keep helping it along throughout the year so that you have that color that we all like.
We don't get tired, look tired.
That's it.
Well, it's definitely not tired around here, but my eye just captured hummingbird lighting over there on the limb of that tree with the shiny leaves. That's
Yes.
your favorite tree?
That's my favorite tree. That's called a Chinese fringe tree, Achiananthus retusus. And it is just, it's a different kind of tree in that most of the time you see blooms coming out before the leaves. This one's different. The leaves actually come out first, and then the white blooms come out after that, and it's just like a sea of cotton in the spring, and they last for like 4 weeks. So it's just my favorite tree. We try to do various things.
Dahlias.
The dahlias, the tubers for the dahlias. Of course, what you don't see now, I got a lot of daffodils, a lot of tulips that come out, and of course we have this sea of color in the spring that we're waiting for, and then as those go away, well, then we start planting our annuals. So it's kind of a mixture of things that we have here, and of course, we like the shrubs, the green, the colors that blend in, the greens and the purples, and then become the yellows, and then of course in the spring, these Japanese maples are just as purple as those Purple Hearts, and they are just absolutely beautiful.
I can only imagine.
It's just wonderful to see.
Like the lauropedilums that you
Laura
have there,
pedalum.
have that same richness. What did you take into consideration about placement of evergreen or deciduous shrubs and trees?
Well, we started out with the height and just the texture first of getting the larger plants in here. And that was the Japanese maples and the Chinese fringe tree. And then from there, we went to things like the yews and the green colored ones that stay green all year long. And then what I wanted to do was filter in the color of the purples and the yellows. And then as you see in the waterfall, I love plants that kind of grow over into the rocks.
The cascading effect.
The cascading effect, and it makes it look so natural that way. So you see some moss, you see creeping jenny,
I see a cotoneaster.
And a cotoneaster, it just keeps going over with the little orange berries.
Yeah.
And so then after you got all that, you just kind of fill in with, with some color and what you think is best that goes with it.
Those are your exclamation points, aren't
You got it.
And the commas are something else,
You
right?
got it.
Okay, there's a lot here in this garden, and viewing it from the top is wonderful, but I'd like to go maybe to the ground level.
Let's do it.
Ron, this is a beautiful example of how you can intermingle some wonderful plants for color and height. Let's start right here with this rose collection.
This is a little shrub rose. It's called a coral rose because of its color. And it's good low-lying. It doesn't spread very well, and you can trim it up good. And then as we move up from there, of course the chrysanthemums add some fall color.
Wonderful color.
And then you get into the various kind of dahlias.
My favorite things, dahlias.
That's a mystic dahlia. You've got the floodlight.
This one is floodlight?
No, floodlight is the yellow one.
Oh, the yellow one. Oh.
And then that's a Thomas Jefferson. That's the purple one. And I forget the name of the yellow, the pink one over here.
It's just pretty. Now this is new and different looking.
Mm-hmm.
That's beautiful. But you know, the colored foliage on this one is a nice blend of. And
I like the yellows and the different hues that we have. And then as you move up, you get into the hydrangeas. Annabelles are my favorite hydrangea. Obviously, they bloomed white in the spring, and but I leave them go in the winter because it gives some character.
And birds like to nest
they love it over there. So the leaves will fall, and I'll just leave them there and cut them back in the spring.
Well, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. On the 5th floor up
on
here.
On the 5th floor, we've got the lime gold Japanese barberry, and it's a green throughout the summer, and then as you start getting into the cool nights, you get these little reddish crimson color, and then it'll lose its leaves. But I like the shades, you know.
Well, I do too. That's beautiful. And then I love the luster of the holly you've got back there.
That's called a dwarf Burford holly, and it stays green all year long. It's just a real bright green luster that I think complements the colors that we go up the hill. Okay. And then that leads over to
the 7th floor, and that Japanese maple up there.
That is a favorite Japanese maple. It's called a Shishi Gashira, Acer palmatum. And it loses its leaves in the fall, but pretty soon after all of the other Japanese maple starts losing its color, it's going to start its show. And not only does it have great texture, but it's going to start turning a little yellow with some suffused with little red and crimson in there. And then the bark is absolutely fantastic. It's a green bark. None of the others I see have that bark. It just stays green all summer long and all winter long. And it'll grow to about 10 or 15 feet and maybe about 10 feet wide. I'm not going to let it grow that big because I want it more compact to complement everything. Yeah. And then, of course, the canopy over here of the oak trees just frame everything, and it's just something that we were fortunate to have.
Right, and you know, today is a day unlike many. We don't get them like this very often. But I'm just looking, and perhaps this is a white oak tree over here. The color of that bark against that blue, and then the blue sky, and your eucalyptus?
And it's a eucalyptus cinerea, and we planted it this spring, and look at it grow.
Now, is that going to be something you've got to protect?
It's good down to zone 7, so I'm going to mulch it real good and cut it back some and see how it goes next spring. It kind of got out of hand going tall, but I just loved it so much. The fragrance is so great.
I think it's refreshing to see hybrid tea roses in your garden. Do you have a long love of those?
We do. My wife likes to cut them and bring them indoors. And for September, not too bad. They're still hanging in there.
Well, but you know the biggest show is actually October, so they're getting ready.
They're getting ready.
And over on the other page over here, I see some butterflies fluttering around. And I think zinnia is one of their favorites.
Oh, yes. Zinnias, these are the tall zinnias. Kind of provide a backdrop to the profusion zinnias, which are orange all year long. And we have lots of cutting from this. And then leads over to one of my favorite plants again. It's the purple hyacinth bean plant.
And you know, that is so effectively used that way because I've had it sprawl across the fence and everything else. But I love how it looks like a standard tree almost over there.
And you know who likes it too?
I bet I know.
butterflies.
Oh, I thought you was
They
going to say
love to go on that thing.
Thomas Jefferson
you got
did too. It was his favorite.
Thomas Jefferson, right?
It was. Well,
Let's,
this is
come out.
just another page in this wonderful garden, but I know there's a few more little places I want to go.
Let's do it.
Let's go. It's wonderful to have the freshness of this green grass, but it's a wonderful prelude to this backdrop you have up here. And tell us how you've effectively accomplished this color for this time of year.
Okay, well, the grass this time of year is starting to come out again pretty well. As far as the color over here, again, we have some profusion zinnias that are low-lying and maintain their color throughout the year, and in between we have some angelonia. And the great color with the blues and the oranges, and then you lead up behind that with the celosia, gives a little yellow flavor, a little taller, and of course the centerpiece right here in the center is our dahlias, and the dahlias, that's a floodlight dahlia, and you can see the butterflies all around it. They love it. The birds come over there and light on them, and then in back we have the green arborvitae and the Eliangus. So we have a wall right in back that, but
it's not a wall.
I wanted to hide the wall with the green, and so we had a little frame and put it together, and decided, okay, we'll put the ends with the knockout roses, which are
looking great.
Profusion.
But you did a good job. I didn't see that wall back there. It's very obvious that Mary and Ron have injected their personalities into this garden. You're creative, and I thank you that you've had the chance to share all this beauty and knowledge with us today.
It's really my pleasure, and as I said before, Volunteer Gardener is the favorite show and garden show on TV, so it's my pleasure for you being here.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
Thank you.